Teresita Blanco, the Artsy sister, and today we're reading Saturnastra Monkey King. This is Chapter 3, Part 1, Civilization Building. Before starting a civilization, it fell on Monkey King to have a dealing with the local dragons. In the Lusitania Peninsula, about 40 adult alabaster dragons range, and the dragons control large hunting grounds and will fight with one another should territorial violations occur. Of these dragons, 5 at the time had dragonings, and normally females tended to share hunting grounds, but the males did not allow for such game. Of the 40 dragons, there were 2 ancient female dragons, with an ever-growing brood that ranged outside of Lusitania. King had a mind to speak with them first, followed by the alpha male in the peninsula. He had chosen them because of their diet, and their older age required a healthy diet rich in salt, quartz, garnet, magnetite, and ilmenite. Those are types of stones. As a treat, these dragons were fond of coconut water and in condensed milk and cardamom. Keeping this in mind, Gargantua sent the nagas of the island to fetch all of the coconuts in the vicinity, and after guarding them and separating the sweet interior from the water, she made with the other cooks a large coconut sweet that was 3 by 2 by 1 meters in sizes. And King would have liked to make 2 more. However, to appease the other 2 dragons, he had to settle with a large container of coconut water and a 4-year-old liger. For his visit, he went to the grotto of the dragon named Maud. Maud had settled in Lusitania roughly 2,000 years ago, and while her peers migrated from time to time, she was a permanent resident. She limited her wanderings to her territory and occasionally ventured into the coral reefs. Since at a young age, she had developed a sweet tooth. King had found her sunbathing by the beach, and her large brown wings were tan as well as most of her lower back. Her pale belly too was a somber copper color. And alabaster dragons started white, however they started browning as soon as they turned 1,000. And one could tell the age of an alabaster dragon by the color of its scales. And like silver dragons, they had wings that were twice the length of their body. However, they had stronger, bulkier build, larger horns and claws. They also had sexual dimorphism like the pharaoh dragons, and the females tended to be smaller, and they started turning brown at the age of 500. And their legs are also longer and thinner than their male counterparts. As for Maud, she no longer passed for an alabaster dragon, and humans also believed that the same dragon was 2 different species. Then again, human lifespan did not allow enough time to watch the subtle color change of this majestic draconic specimen. So like they call it alabaster because they first meet them when they're white, but then they turn darker hues as they age. Cause like a lot of larvae of species and like nymphs and all that, they start like the ants, they start like a little milky white maggot, and then they turn into like red ants, green ants, blue ants, the works. King approached the sleeping Maud, and his companion had left the cart with the tree before fleeing. And King perched on her nose and then poked her closed eyelids, and not opening her eyes, she growled. "What do you want, Ahi?" It's Monkey King, responded his brother. "Oh, it's you," said Maud. King had the same scent as his brother, and Maud then took a deep breath and exhaled smoke. King started coughing all the while, and once the smoke had cleared up, he said, "I wish to have an audience with your gracefulness, oh, majestic and wonderful, the ever-merciful Maud." "If you wish to have an audience, you must pay tribute," said Maud, sitting up. And pointing with his staff, King said, "I bring you the finest coconut tree that our land has to offer." Maud looked at the card, and she took the wrapped gift, which was as large as her palm. After eating the sweet, she then said, Your offering pleases me, King of the Nagas. Tell me, what business do you have with me?" "We Nagas wish to start a civilization," said King straight to the point. Scratching her head scales, Maud commented, "I was under the impression you already had one." Not really. Sure, we have something that could be called an organization, a writing system, and whatnot. However, we have not made any attempts at agriculture, crafts, and other forms of development out of respect for your eminence. And my peers fear that if we abandon our hunting and gathering ways, we will no longer have peace with the dragons. Said King, explaining the gist of their concern. And Maud folded her cloth and it made it seem like she was considering the matter. In the end, she said, "Do whatever you like, I could care less. Just do not touch my source of nutrients, and you will have peace with me and my descendants." King started leaving when Maud asked, "Just what do you know about agriculture?" "The same as you do, I suppose," answered King meekly. "I would advise against the temptation of monoculture, and then I get into the textile industry because it rarely leads anywhere. Stick to furs or maybe silk. I like silk fabrics, and they have quite a nice taste, especially when the silkworms are still inside the cocoon. But I digress. If you must choose this path, try barley. It is good for animal feed, fermented beer, and it is a resource of nutrients. Beans also work well, and the forest has plenty of natural bean plants, and yucca too," so advised Maud. After speaking with Maud, King went to speak with the other female elder, and the second dragon was called Endriaga. And he found her within her grotto inside a natural sea cave, and she used to share her residence with bats and albatrosses, and at the moment there was a strange growling noises coming from the cave. King waited outside till the sun went down, and the following morning he saw a large pale alabaster dragon flying away. He gave a disdainful look at the tiny intruder as he flew, and noticing the large canister, the dragon returned and he asked, "What's inside there?" "It's not for you, it's for Endriaga," commented Monkey King. But I want some too, and I'm going to take it anyway." "You puny little thing," said the dragon, blowing out smoke. And he made a reach for it, and when a howling came from within the cave, and biting his snap, and came out the tiny Endriaga. Though she was a third of his size, her violent disposition quickly intimidated the larger dragon, and he looked even paler, and he cringed at the sight of her razor-sharp teeth, with the liquid bile dripping from her mouth. And Endriaga was different from the alabaster dragons, insomuch as she prepared to fight with poison instead of fire. And due to her small frame, she could not produce flames. As such, she had shifted her diet to increase the lethality of her saliva. And the two growled and snapped at each other for a few minutes before Endriaga's companion finally left. And yawning, she said, "Welcome, little monkey. What brings you to my humble abode?" "Well, I brought you some coconut water, and I wish to discuss your disposition with regard to the most pressing matter," said King, bowing. Endriaga drew closer to see Monkey King face to face. Snorting white fumes, she said, "Like I said before, and all of the monkeys that came before, I care not about your affairs, and do what you must, and let my little slice of heaven in peace." "Well, that is just it. We Nagas wish to build up our civilization, and in the past we know that you used to attack humans. So my companions wanted to know the statutory limitations of our civilization in order to maintain peace with you and your kin," said Monkey King, bowing. "Do whatever you like, I don't care," said Endriaga, going back inside her cave. She then went back out, remembering the container of coconut water. Insisting, King said, "Just out of curiosity, why do you attack the humans and the urban settlements as well?" "I can't imagine why," said Endriaga, returning to her abode. King jumped and pressured her back to follow within, and some of the bats perched on her home and proceeded to sleep in a manner most befitting of their kind. So she had in her dragon home there were like bats sleeping upside down on top of her horns. King took note of the variety of species cohabitating with Endriaga, and despite her large size, she was always wobbling every which way to avoid stepping on a crab. And seeing this behavior made King realize why she despised the humans and the elves. And the last dragon he visited was Saturnastra, or Seer for short. Seer was a reclusive dragon, and he no longer bothered to mate, and he only hunted once every 4 months. And his only pleasure in life was maintaining his large collection of cats. Both big and small, he had a cat of every species and design, and King knew that Seer did not have a liger, so it seemed like a good bargaining chip, and And he did not live in a cave, rather he spent his time outdoors along his feline companions. And he had learned his love of cats as a dragonin, and one of his early playfellows had been a kitten. Time, bro?
13 minutes.
At the moment, Sir was playing with his puma, and he had a branch and was shaking it in front of the large puma to make him strike it, and the puma growled when he saw King approach, and then he ran away. Frowning, Sir turned around and he asked, "Who goes there?" Looking down, he chuckled when he saw the little monkey man approach, and the dragon showed his fangs in an attempt to simulate a welcoming smile. And when he saw the liger behind King, he screeched and said, "Oh, that is so cute." He picked up the giant behemoth of a liger, for indeed, this liger was to a dragon what a kitten is for a human. And licking his head, he said, "Oh, you are just such a precious specimen. Thank you, thank you." The following hours, Sir spent talking and asking about his new kitten, quote unquote, because it's a full-grown liger, but for, like, dragons be huge, like, so now you have, like, a proper sense of the dimension, because, like, a liger, it would be, like, the size of a kitten, so then you're this small, too. He too did not seem to mind the idea of civilization, though he insisted on taking a small percentage of the chicken eggs for his cats. "My cats like to scramble eggs, and it would be nice if you bring me some for them from time to time, as a form of tribute, and I do so hope not to be in his position, and I regret asking beforehand, but if you don't mind," said Steve divagating, and he was not used to having a normal conversation. It's fine," said King, smiling, and then he added, "Just out of curiosity, in the past you attacked the human villages. Pray do tell, what was the reason for such attacks?" I can't seem to remember now. Give me a moment. Ah, yes, now I remember. Mittens had wandered into the human village, and I went there to find him. And even though I tried to explain my situation, the humans grew hysterical, and they pelleted me with flimsy arrows, and I grew angry at their hostility, and once they were all gone, I was able to find Mittens and return home. Explains here absent-mindedly while petting his liger. So, yeah, like, he just came to human town to go find one of his cats, and the humans just grew hysterical because, like, let me dragon, and then they attacked him, and like, I'm just trying to find my cat. And then he was like, stupid humans, and then he just burned them all because they were like, because they attacked him first while he was just there to look for his missing pet. After visiting the older dragons, King went to speak with the elder, and some of the younger draconic pairs found King's venture laughable. And Bersamin had never made attempts at taking over the forest for reasons that his companions did not understand. And the continent itself was bountiful with an overall mild climate. However, the land in Lusitania was virgin and pristine. It was the idea for starting fresh farming venture. And there was also other untapped resources in the form of timber and other many hidden scenes. And before returning to the lighthouse, King decided to visit a cave. And the cave was at the northern border of the peninsula, and this cave was always deserted, and every living creature had learned to stay away from it, and the area leading towards it was dull and lifeless, and the trees surrounding it were all petrified, and the closer one approached the cave, the fewer presence of life, and the ground was covered by a greenish moss, and beyond it was a blue and yellow lake marking the entrance. And this time King took a little boat to cross the lake, and inside the lake there was a puddles of yellow and extremely acidic water, and the ground beyond the cave was yellow, and from the crevices in the walls, at times steam would shoot up, and King had to stay on his toes to avoid getting struck by the toxic stream. At other times he would summon a barrier, and in the end he sat in the air and he embraced his staff, and the thin shield acquired an accurate putrid thin layer of arsenic, ammonia, and sulfur, and it was through sheer magic alone that whatever air remained was purified. And after crossing this inferno, the ground turned ashen black, and King left his shield and walked in the normal ground, and at first glance the ground seemed like black sand, and upon closer inspection the ground was made of obsidian, and the further inside one got, the more precious gems manifested, and in the end there was a field of flowers made from precious stones, and it was unnatural to say the least, and the bioluminescent bacteria were the only timid source of light. And King stopped in the center of the field, and then he said in a low voice, "Good morning, good afternoon, no?" He was quiet for some time, and then he answered, I am very well as well. Not so much, same as before, and from here and back over there you know how it is, young dragonlings, he then said. And the ground rumbled a little and then settled in an imperceptible up and down vibration, and the Bativius glow had changed to bright red, and paid in the sand, he continued. Don't really know what to do with myself, I'm just going through the motions, trying to keep myself busy. Talk to him? No, I wouldn't. If you think of having a conversation with Marduke is frustrating, with a he is impossible. He refuses to take anything in life serious, and I admire him for it, and I suppose, and it's not as if I ever stepped foot in my home, and we were supposed to have gone home after this mission, and I was looking forward to meeting the others, said King sadly. And he started to leave when he felt the ground rumble, and turning around he said, "Ah yes, your familiars told you of our little game. You certainly do make a commission argument, and in this respect, they're quite superior to the humans, I suppose, and good night to you then." As he started leaving the gemstone garden, he heard a small water droplet falling around him, and slowly he modulated his pace in order to avoid having a single water droplet fall on his head. And each time one fell, the flowers emitted a trembling hue pertaining to its color, and soon the entire garden was aglow in fantastic elusive lights. And a bloom seeped through the cracks on the walls, and painting the entire scenery with fantastic shadows. And King took in a deep breath, and then a cold icy chill escaped his lips. There is still a long road ahead, he fancied, and once he left the cave, he was pleased to see his brother Ahi waiting for him, and he hugged Ahi tightly, but as usual, Ahi did not return the hug, and Ahi had not changed one bit, and his antlers still had the frame of a 16-year-old lad, and they walked together out of the dead forest, and King did not seem inclined to say anything, and he stubbornly just stared at his brother, fearing to lose him from sight again, and from time to time, Ahi would pick up a random leaf, twig, or flower to eat it. And he stayed with his brother for a year before going on his merry way. And as before, he could not stand being in one location for a long period of time. And with his brother nearby, King threw himself at the laborious task of starting a civilization. And in the end, he decided to start with horticulture and then go from there. And the Nagas would not change their lifestyle in favor of a lazy back manner of the so-called civilized society, and his peers were not taking on the idea of domesticating animals to eat them, and they felt that it ruined the flavor, and they also had continued the omnivorous diet, and the crops were primarily designed for human consumers, and they were using to take from human society whatever was too much of a hassle to make. And the cash crops to be made were millet, coconuts, bananas, palms, chickpeas, coffee, sweet potato, and rice. And as the plant in the sea is irrigation took care of itself, and whenever there was need for rain, the Nagas would howl to the four winds, and in time the earth would rumble and spew forth the desired water. And the bounty of the land was also noticed in the speed in which the crops grew, and in any other land one had to wait half a year before harvesting, and for the Nagas it took less than 4 months between each harvest. And once the storage rooms were full, the Nagas would return to business as usual. And one cold winter morning, he awoke early, and his brother found him looking out the window yawning. And timidly King said, "Good morning." "Oh, beginnings are hard," said he in a chunky German, and straining to understand him, King said, "Sure, whatever you say." Sighing, and he repeated his phrase in English. And then he said, "Oh, beginnings are hard, and don't forget the devil likes his long benches." What's this about long benches?" said King, confused. One of Warden's fire demons manifested behind Ahi, and then he said, "He means that you're taking the easy way and respect your Naga's intelligence, and they are intimidated by you, and they seem to have been tainted by your inferiority complex, and speak to Pierre and heal them and listen to what they want to do for themselves. The cash crop thing is cute enough, but that is taking the easy way." "Who asked for your opinion?" snapped King. "Easy now, brother," said Ahi, and he had never once called him Monkey King. "From crooked logs, straight fires may come out, and we have all the time in the world. It's fine, you're doing just fine, and I will be leaving today." "No, don't go, don't leave me alone," said King, clinging to his brother. And he patted his brother's head, and then lifted it gently to look at him with his flaming eyes, and smiling he said, "Yourself is a man, and you must say B since you started with A." The fire demons translated, "He means that you must take care of your own problems and don't leave things half-baked. And the first step was good, but now you must continue. Time, bro?"
4 minutes.
Following his advice, the following day, King summoned all of the clan leaders of the Nagas, and this time Pierre was available to advise on this important issue. The crossing is a good idea with the famines in the human realms, he said sternly. And a stranger among them came forward to speak, and he was a silverback gorilla named Willie B. Ramsey. And he ran at his inn in Martisol. And he had come down from the mountains to meet with the Nagas, and he was still getting used to the forest, and as such he had problems breathing. And he said, a civilization is more than expert, and take the mountain races for example, and one society is based on having everything orderly, while the other focuses on experimentation and architecture. And I'm not saying one way is better than the other, and you could plan your society or just let things happen naturally. The humans tried the latter, and look how things ended up, said Ida sternly, and we cannot allow ourselves to make the same mistakes as mankind. The general of the standing army was Fiumera, and she then said, the army has not seen real conflict since the Grand Wars, and may I suggest we engage in mercenary work then, if only to avoid losing practice. Ah yes, said the others agreeing. They were eager to spill blood once again. It is important to diversify assets. If anything, it will work as a show of strength. And mind you, we would only work during the war season, and even if our patrons entice us to work for longer periods of time, we cannot risk incurring the ire of Blood Red, said King agreeing. And raising her hand, Patty said after getting everyone's attention, maybe we could try selling spell components. There are a lot of unique herbs and flowers that only grow here, and we can sell a few and get into the magic market. Let's not open the can of worms, Patty said grimly. I know you are new here and all, but we have a bad history with magic users, and none will ever want to have dealings with us after what we did. Said Patty, giving a sideways look. Patty was a human who had been turned into a Naga about 8 years ago. As such, she had not lived with the Nagas through the turbulent years before the fall of Bersamin, and her human features were fused with those of a bonnet macaque. Just forget it, Patty, said King, and suddenly remembering something, he said, ah yes, there are some mages that can be traded with, and my sister Lamina has a tower in Eurisen, and we can use them as a proxy to trade with the other. Eurisen, you said, commented Pierre. Maybe we should pay them an informal visit. Nah, that is the only tower that is on our side, and we don't mess with allies who will only share knowledge, said King looking sternly. What want? Said Garganta thundering over the others. What is it? Can we get you something? Asked Pierre, somewhat annoyed at the interruption. Pointing to her skin, she repeated, want what? Want what? And King closed his eyes and he folded his arms, and at the moment the semblance with he was impeccable. And nodding, he said, I want things to be as they were before I found out that my home is gone. And I want to collect spells and information like we used to, even if it is just for our own selfish reasons. Your home is not gone. Say, Mother, we are your home. Aren't we enough for you? It is just not the same, or so I've been told, said King, still unconvinced. And making this world his home entailed giving up some luxuries he was just not ready to abandon. Time, bro?
Less than a minute.
Alright, bye-bye and God bless.